Darwin Nunez and Gakpo on site, on form, on point. Give Liverpool Football Club the massively needed 3 points. The top four race is on. The top four race is alive. And Newcastle seemingly sinking like a ship with a big hole in it at the moment, struggling to find wins from anywhere, struggling to score goals. They now lose Nick Pope for 3 games. I believe it's 3 games. They're definitely missing him for the Carabao Cup. I believe it's 3 games. A disappointing night for Newcastle, who still had chances. But Liverpool followed up their Derby Day win with a very good performance and a very good win. Now, Newcastle, even down to 10 men, could have scored goals tonight. Let's not get that twisted. They could have scored goals. Alisson Becker had another man of the match display. It's only 1 game he's going to miss. Fair enough. Sorry, my apologies. Man of the match display, again, from Alisson Becker. But that's 6 points now. 6 points behind the top 4 with a game in hand that Liverpool have. They have put themselves firmly back in this race. They've done what Chelsea should have done. Chelsea should not have lost to Southampton today. They shouldn't have dropped points against West Ham and dropped points against Fulham. They should have won all 3 of those games with the quality of players they've got. That should be 9 points. Closer. Well, actually, not quite 9 points. They picked up 7 points more than they have right now. Liverpool, 6 points in this week has really thrown the cat amongst the pigeons. The draws Newcastle have had since the beginning of 2023 have cost them dear. They should easily, Newcastle, on balance of playing those games, have 10 to 12 more points than they have at this moment in time, meaning Liverpool would be nowhere near them. But the door has been left ajar. And Tottenham fans will be buzzing off this result. Tottenham win tomorrow against West Ham. They go back into 4th position. But Liverpool have given themselves an absolutely brilliant opportunity. And, a few weeks back, I was looking at this Liverpool team, the lack of performances, the lack of running, the lack of effort. And I sat there and said, look, are they working for Klopp anymore? Do they really want this? Liverpool fans saying Klopp should be sacked. Klopp's got to go. The last 2 games, there's hope. The last 2 matches, these Liverpool players, Jurgen Klopp, have given the Kop faith. They absolutely have. And Spurs will be licking their lips and they'll be fancying their chances now of a top 4 position because Newcastle, they look really smelly at the moment. They're not able to kill games off. They're not able to take their chances. They're maybe just succumbing to a little bit of the pressure and the expectation that's now upon their shoulders. It's okay being the underdogs that nobody expects to get top 4. Suddenly, when the limelight is on you, the newspapers are talking, the airways are lit up, rivals are on your neck. Delivering is key. Delivering is absolutely key. And they're not coming up trumps as it stands right now. Will Liverpool make the top 4? I'm not going to bet against them. I'm not going to say impossible. I'm not going to say that isn't going to happen. That would be crazy. They've got a very good chance. They still need to improve. They should have killed today's game off. They still conceded too many chances, but still a little bit easy to get through the middle on. And, Almiron had a chance he should have scored before Liverpool's first. There's a great save from Alisson to put the ball onto the bar. There's a wonderful chance on about the 81st minute where I think Anthony went through the middle and you've got Wilson out to the left and somebody else is out on the right. I'm not sure who. And Alisson makes the saves. So they're not perfect yet, Liverpool. But nobody in the top 4 race is perfect. Because if you were perfect, you wouldn't be in the top 4 race. You would be in the title race. It's kind of how it works. If you were perfect, you wouldn't be in a top 4 race. You would be in the title one. This super chat here says, not great performance, but winning is winning. Yeah, I think that's a fair way to analyze today for Liverpool. And you were going away to Newcastle. Today, for me, wasn't about performance per se. It was about result. You move on from this point, and who are Liverpool's next games against in the league? Just take a quick look here, just so I don't get it wrong. Obviously, they've got Real Madrid midweek in the Champions League, but in the Premier League, away to Palace, which is tough, and then home to Wolves, and then you're at home to Man United. And listen, those next 3 matches, they're difficult. All 3 of those games are difficult for Liverpool, but I don't think there's an easy game left. Walk away from that, from a Liverpool point of view, with 7 to 9 points, which is very doable. Newcastle will drop more points by then. Spurs this whole season, every 3 games they're dropping points minimum. So if you walk away with 7 to 9 points from your next 3 games, you're well in that race. You're in it now. You're only 6 points behind with the game in hand, but you could find yourself one of the front runners and a lot of people backing you on that. Performance is a key for sustainability, but we're also getting very close to the final home straight of the league, which is when performances go out the window and results is all that anybody really focuses upon. Maradon says, "Get in, Terry." Yeah, good performance from yourselves tonight. Really was. Karius is going to have to do a masterclass versus Manchester United. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie to you. I was very happy to see that happen. Newcastle not scoring. Newcastle under pressure. No Bruno Guimaraes. And then Nick Pope now missing. Listen, it's going to be a tough game for Manchester United. It's going to be a hugely tough game for Man United in the Carabao Cup final. But not having Nick Pope is massive. I love this. Where's that comment gone? My favorite comment of the day. Terry, a secret Liverpool fan. Yeah, I'm always a secret fan of another club. Winner Paul here says, Terry, red card killed the game. I don't fear Real Madrid. Anfield is ready. I'm glad you don't fear Real Madrid. I think a little bit of fear is important. A little bit of fear keeps you on your toes. I'm going to tell you as to why. And I'm probably going to piss off a lot. I'm probably going to piss off a lot of Newcastle fans when I say this today. But here goes. Newcastle lost today because they disrespected Liverpool and they were not scared of them. Fear is imperative when you're playing against any team, let alone a team with Liverpool's pedigree, the caliber of players they have. Newcastle typically this year have sat back, dropped the defensive line a little deeper, absorbed pressure, and countered. They went up against Liverpool tonight, a little bit like Everton tried to do Monday. Right, Liverpool's struggling. Let's play a higher line. Let's be aggressive. Let's be expansive. Let's open up and leave our chin exposed. And they got sparked out unconscious. To quote Stormzy, they got a little bit too big for their boots. And they disrespected Liverpool. And the disrespect they showed Liverpool is why they got slapped. And they got slapped at St. James's Park today. They lost 2-0. They're dropping like a stone in the league. And they're now missing one of their most important players for one of the biggest days in their club's history, the Carabao Cup final. Certainly the biggest day in their club's history since 1999. The chance of winning a trophy. But the disrespect that they demonstrated towards Liverpool today is why I'm kind of glad they lost. Now, Man United play Liverpool in a couple of weeks' time, and we're in good form. Let's see what form they're in by the time we play them. But even if they lose the next 2 games, Liverpool, you don't go to Anfield. You don't play Liverpool at any point and just write them off. This is going to be easy. This will be chicken feed. This will be like taking candy from a baby. With all due respect, Newcastle, you've got brilliant owners in now. You're moving forward as a football club. You've had an excellent season so far. I'm taking nothing away from you. But don't forget your place currently in the pyramid of English football. Don't think you can play a high line and be open and expansive against Liverpool. Not with Darwin Nunez and Gakpo and Mo Salah, arguably one of the most athletic and pacey front lines in European football. It was stupid. It was dumb. It was ill-advised. It was too much confidence. That confidence led to carelessness. That carelessness led to you losing today. And I'm taking nothing away from Liverpool. Liverpool deserved it. But if Newcastle would have sat in deep, been hard to break down, hard and resolute, and countered, the game could have been very different. And this is the one thing I'll say about Liverpool. No matter, you look at their league positioning, you're rubbish. Don't disrespect Liverpool. They'll hurt you. They'll hurt you. And the thing is, Newcastle created openings and opportunities in this game. They could have won it, but they left themselves exposed. And once they were 2-0 down, Nick, because of the high line, Nick Pope came out before the red card and just about got to a header, right? And they carried on doing it. It's like, what do you think you're doing today? Eddie Howe got it very, very wrong indeed. And you saw that disrespect. And they got slapped on the jaw. They got spanked on the jaw. It's simple as that. Mama Flossie here says the drop-off was always gonna come. Yeah, and I spoke about this before the January window, and everybody thought I was disrespecting Newcastle, and I wasn't. I felt the drop-off would come because you're new to the party. And listen, this Newcastle team, this club, over the coming years is going to become a real threat. As the commercial revenues grow, the money they spend grows, the owners from Saudi really want to make Newcastle a powerhouse in European football, and I believe they will. You know, DAZN are just about to enter the fray for next year's bids for the new TV rights. That means more money's coming for commercial point of view, which means more money can be spent. I think they're also going to adjust the FFP rules at some point soon, meaning club owners can pump even more money in. Newcastle are going to get there. But I just think this season, in terms of finishing in a Champions League place, has just come a little bit too soon. And I mean that with zero disrespect to Newcastle. As horrible as it may sound, I mean it with zero disrespect. Tom L, JJ, Mons, Husam, you guys turn your backs. UTR. What does UTR mean? Am I being dumb here? Let me get UTR. What does that mean? Sometimes I see things and I'm like, that must be a kid's thing. I don't know what it means. UTR, unique tax reference. No, it's not unique tax reference. What does UTR mean? I don't know what it means. I'm going to go to the Urban Dictionary and see. I'm going to see it. Go, all right, I get it now. Under the radar. Oh, there we go. Under the radar. I get it now. Someone says up the Reds. I thought it means under the radar. Or does it mean up the Reds? It might mean up the Reds. You're probably right, up the Reds. That's why I definitely don't know it. I'm not a Liverpool fan. We don't say up the Reds at Manchester United. There we go. Under the radar actually also fits. I don't know. Don't laugh at me. You know what I mean? And listen, as I say, look, I looked at Liverpool a few weeks ago and I did see a team that looked like it was not playing for Klopp, looked devoid of ideas, looked finished. I don't really care about being wrong. People always say to me, oh, you're going to lose your credibility if you get a prediction wrong. Bruv, man's been getting predictions right and wrong for 5 years now. I've got one of the biggest independent, organically developed YouTube channels in the world. Getting predictions right. This is why I get really annoyed at fans online that just spend hours a day fighting over, I'm right, you're wrong. I'm right, you're wrong. I can debunk your point, but I'll debunk it from a footballing point of view. If you realize, like, no one cares who's right or wrong. It's just about how entertaining you are, how engaging you are. That's it. But everyone fights over, oh, I've got more predictions right than you. So what? No one cares, bruv. No one cares. You mug. Oh, I can't believe Terry's got 300,000 subs. My football takes are much better. They might be, but your personality's shit. That's why no one cares about what you got to say. Move on. It's all about personality. And you guys will like mine. Clearly, you're ear. But ear is in ear with a capital E, like ear, like Cockney, here, ear. But yeah, don't worry about being right or wrong. A Liverpool fan can give an opinion today and go, I think we're finished under Klopp. And in 3 weeks go, I got that wrong. That's being a football fan. If you've got people within your fan base that go, no, you should never say those things, you're a disgrace. Just what you do is you hit the block button and you ignore those people. Those people are control freaks. Those people are weird. Do you know what I'm saying? Them people are mad. They're the kind of people that would lock you up for saying that a man. I'm not putting it out. I just said, though, because I'll get cancelled. I'm just saying, Terry, you ain't being disrespectful, mate. In my opinion, just calling it how it is, how you see it, spot on. Yeah, no, and I know you're a Newcastle fan yourself, Steve, and I just got to speak my mind. And again, sometimes I speak my mind and it turns out to not go the way it feels at the time. But remember, we are doing instant match reactions, how we feel at that moment in time. None of us have a magic wand. None of us can see into the future. Look what I predicted about Arsenal. No one believed me they'd be in a title race, and they are. Equally, I thought Chelsea were going to be good this year. So honestly, if you're following people that care so much about all opinions being right, please drop those people out your life. They're bad people. They're bad human beings. Trust me. And they're the kind of people that will stab you in the back later on down the line, screw you over. Trust me. 37 years of age, seen it all, been there, done it, worn the t-shirt. Move on from narcissists. By the way, I wasn't swearing. I said something else. I basically said that men. Now, I'm not going to say what I said because I'll get cancelled. Arsenal fan here, squeezing my fat birds with joy. I bet you are, my friend. I'm going to bring out Roms and Husam to have their say with me right now. Keep the likes coming. Keep your comments. Keep your questions coming in as well. Make sure you're subscribing to the Football Terrace as well. Let's go. Welcome back to the show, gentlemen. Congratulations on the win. Husam, speak to me. How happy are you, my friend?
Very happy, very happy. Unexpected win. I can't lie to you. I was kind of nervous, scared going into this game. You know, when it comes to Newcastle, you know, we see where they are in the league, what they've been doing, the strongest defense in the league as well. And you know, I'm very happy we won. It's a good day, man. It's a good day. You know, Chelsea lost after spending 600 million to Southampton at home. They're asking if Ward-Prowse is the next Juninho now because of Chelsea. So, you know, big up Chelsea. City drew as well. Arsenal won. The red teams are all happy today. You know, I hope they're miserable tomorrow, but, you know, they're happy today, the teams that were red. But anyway, on the game, you know, when it comes to the players, credit to every single one of them. These players have let us down all year long. We've got to be honest. There is no reason where we should be where we are. However, today, great performance from all 11 players, even number 14 who wears the armband that I've criticized 150 times. We've got to give him credit. Big up to you, Steve, as well. Commiserations. He's a Newcastle fan. Commiserations, Steve. You know, it's a happy feeling. It's finally good to watch football again and be happy, man. You know, today, Cody Gakpo 2 and 2. The right-hand side created 2 goals for the left-hand side to score. Typical club football right here. Trent Alexander-Arnold. My fucking right back. The king is back. Ladies and gentlemen, the king is back. All your shit right backs can now take the back seat because the king is back. Trent Alexander-Arnold is back, ladies and gentlemen. And he's back with a vengeance because now he's defending well as well. So no one got any reason to criticize the guy. Stopped Saint-Maximin, which caused them problems. Stopped Dwight McNeil, which caused them problems in the past. And he's getting assists. The only bad game he's had, and I'll hold my hands up and say he was bad. The only game he's had that was bad post-World Cup has been Brighton. Brighton, he was bad. 100%.
But the whole team was bad. The whole team was
bad.
100%.
But I'm just, you know, I have to say it because Terry now will pull up and go like, you know, Brighton, he was shit. So, you know, I have to say Brighton, he was bad. But the rest of the games, he was he's been honestly one of our best player. Big up to Darwin Nunez as well. And this is what we want from him. I've been someone who was critical of Darwin Nunez. And this is exactly what I need. I need good performances. Last week, I said he didn't score last week. And I said he was our best forward. This week he scored, and again he was our best forward. I want big up, John, baby. I want us to see Darwin Nunez perform. I'm not even talking about GA. Forget GA. Today, if he didn't even score the goal, he still would have been our best forward because he offered us everything we need. Link up play, work rate, getting involved, playing the passes in behind, playing the passes back, keeping the ball, holding the ball. He gave us the stuff that we expect of a Darwin Nunez. And this is kind of a touch of genius from Jurgen, because essentially now what's happening is Salah's no longer playing right wing back. Cody Gakpo is playing the quote-unquote Firmino role, and Salah and Nunez are kind of tucked in as 2 strikers in behind. It's kind of a diamond. And finally, last but not least, I'm going to call my kid Stefan. I am absolutely in love with Stefan Bajcetic. I'm going to be Abu Stefan from now. I love this guy. I absolutely love this guy. This guy is so, like, how is a kid coming in and being our best midfielder? And you know what it is? It's not even tackles and work rate. This guy's playing progressive passes. He's playing long balls. He's getting stuck in. He's fighting mano a mano with the best midfielders in the league. Like, he's actually playing well. And now there's a big monster. And I know you're probably going to ask about it, so I'm going to just address it. There's a big monster coming that wears all white from Spain. And that is the only team in the entire continent that scares me. No other team scares me. Bring me whoever. Bayern, I'd be confident. PSG, whoever you want, I'd be confident. That's the only team that I'm always afraid of. That big team that wears white with 14 Champions Leagues. I hope this time we get a different outcome because we change the way we play, not in terms of personnel, in terms of style. Today, in the first 20 minutes, Jurgen Klopp did something very smart. Give them the ball and play on the counter-attack. It's okay. We understand currently we're not at our strongest. We don't need to do, you know, the whole, crazy football and all of that. We can play like an orchestra. It doesn't have to be heavy metal. It's okay. Take your time. Put Nunez and Salah on halfway line. Give Madrid possession and try hit them on the counter-attack. Carlo Ancelotti triggers my fan base. He's 100% right. There is no need to get triggered. Every time they've played Liverpool, we have done exactly what they've expected us to do, and they have been able to maintain us and win, even though we've outperformed them. But it doesn't matter because they eventually win. So this time we have to change the style, not the person.
What I want to say on that as well, and this is where I've got to credit Jurgen Klopp, because today was a prime example of you doing that. I do think Newcastle were very disrespectful, and I meant that in the sense of I think, and Everton were as well. Everton thought, oh, we can just rough them up a little bit like we did Arsenal, and it will work. Like, you were at Anfield, but Jurgen Klopp has changed things slightly. He's gone, right, we're not going to go out and be the aggressors. We're going to counter-attack, and it worked. This is where, when your team isn't quite functioning at its brilliant best, managers have to adapt, drop a little bit of ego, and say, well, we'll play it. Like, because I look at Ten Hag right now. Ten Hag is not playing the football that idealistically he wants to play. He wants to dominate the ball, the possession. I mean, we almost did it at the new camp the other day. That was almost like ideal for him. It's going to take a couple of years for him to build a team that can do exactly what he wants. So he adapts and he adjusts against certain opponents to win the football matches, because in the short term, that's just as important. And I think Jurgen Klopp today got it absolutely spot on. He invited Newcastle on, and Newcastle took the bait and went, all right, then we'll do it, which was mad, but fair play to Klopp.
You know how you said you felt Newcastle were disrespecting us. Don't you think that was inevitable though? Because this was their first. They 100% had one eye on next weekend. It's their first cup final in God knows how long. I don't know the exact figure, but for me, it was inevitable. I always knew. It's still hard. I think we're the only team to beat them this season in the reverse fixture. So they've had I think the best defense in the league as well. But I always knew they were going to drop a few starters. The Wilsons, another big name they left out as well. Wilson and someone else. I can't remember off the top of my head. But when I saw their starting 11, I thought, maybe we could get something. Obviously, as Liverpool fans, Zayn and Husam will tell you, you're not going to go into any game this season with much real confidence, but I thought it was inevitable. If you add context into it, they weren't going to start their strongest team, because if you was to ask Eddie Howe what's the more important game, this evening's one or next week, he's 100% going to tell you next week.
I don't think it's the personnel, it was the way they approached the game. I think the high line, the way they tried to be aggressive, they're kind of resting people for the cup final. Like, I'm an advocate, and I know you all are, because three of you are Liverpool fans, Steve's a Newcastle fan. Winning trophies is the only commodity at the end of the day that matters. Style of football, points totals, records, all great. However, I've got more trophies than you. I'm a bigger club. It's as simple as, that's what it boils down to at the end of the day for fans.
So we're bigger than you?
No.
We got more trophies, brother.
not you know what I'm talking. You know what I'm talking about in general. Like the trophies come in, then it's the records and everything else. But I think for me, so I understand the rotation of the team. It was the approach to the game, and they played into Jurgen Klopp's hands today. Went, cool, we'll just sit back and we'll counter, and you did that. And with the speed you've got up front, I would say this now: you've probably got a very fast and pacey front three. You don't have the most overly technically gifted front three. So maybe it's about time a little bit more counter-attack football started, as opposed to trying to play your way through teams, because you don't have the facilities for that anymore. And it's good to see Jurgen Klopp trying to adapt, as opposed to just trying to put square pegs in round holes. And I think that can be a weakness of Klopp at times.
Can I just say one more thing? The key word for me today is momentum, because we've seen this early in the season. We went City and West Ham back-to-back, then we couldn't win our third game. We went, cool, I know it was just before the World Cup, so context needs to be applied, but just after. But I think we went Spurs and Aston Villa and Leicester back-to-back, and we couldn't win our third game. So for me, Real Madrid is a massive game, which I don't think we'll progress, but I do think we win the game at Anfield. I honestly do believe that. I think it will be 2-1 that game. But for me, Crystal Palace next Saturday is key, because I think for the first time this season, ladies and gentlemen, if we can go 3 games in a row, then I'll start believing. But I don't want to fall back into that trap of, we've won 2 games. The City game's a bit different though, because they were flying at the time. We were so poor. Klopp actually had good tactics that day and actually approached the game different, and we got a result. And we all started to think, maybe Klopp might change on for the foreseeable. He didn't. But I think next week's game against Crystal Palace is so key. If we win that, I'll start believing. But right now, I don't want to get sucked into top 4s back on again, because we've been consistently inconsistent this season.
Yeah, I hear that.
Let me just say one thing before hopping off.
Cool.
Here's the thing now, and I'm gonna say it here in front of the Terrace audience, because this is one of the places where the journey started. If we knock out Real Madrid, I'm booking my flight to Istanbul. I am booking my hotel. No one scares me in Europe except Real Madrid. If we get through that fixture, Crown Plaza settings, Turkey, Istanbul, we're going to Istanbul, baby. It's the Champions League final. I ain't going to miss it. Turkey's only 2 hours away from Jordan. It's right here. 2-hour flight. I'm going to go over there. And I'm confident. That's all I'm gonna say because I don't want to jinx it. Because every time I open my mouth, some shit happens. The only negative is Terry's gonna smile next week because it's gonna be fucking Loris Karius in goal now, thanks to Nick Pope's stupidity. So it's basically like, Terry, you've already won the Carabao Cup. So congratulations.
But honestly, on that, like, it gives Man United were already the favourites. No Pope, no Dubravka. It gives us a much better chance. And look, everyone knows when it comes to Man United, getting that monkey off the back of the manager, not of that trophy duck. Not that he's 5-year going on to 6-year ducks, but if he can break that now, it takes so much pressure off of him. So yes, thank you so much, Nick.
You've
Pope.
won that essentially now. So
I hope. But Sam, we'll chat to you again soon, bro. Thanks for coming on, bro. Appreciate it. There was a comment that came in here I wanted to ask you all. It's from Joshua Loveless, who says, let me just change this so it pushes it. There we go. It says, how can Liverpool win 2-0 against a 10-man side and Alisson still be their best player? With performances like that, sorry, you're not making top 4. What do you say to that, Zane?
Right. Obviously, I said last week, I'm confident we're going to get top 4. And it's come through today, right? So from my point of view, what these people don't understand is when teams go on runs like Man City or Liverpool, there's a lot of games where you ain't playing well, but you do just enough to get over the line. So I know a lot of your teams probably don't know what it's like winning 10, 15 games in a row. And that's facts, bruv. I'm keeping it real. A lot of your rivals don't know that, bruv. But the secret is it doesn't matter how much you play, it's getting a W and the 3 points. You could play like shit and you still get some dodgy goal goes on someone's backside and you somehow get away from that game with the 3 points. That's how it is in football. That you cannot play champagne football the whole season. It's not possible. No team has ever played champagne football throughout the whole season. So again, that comment just shows a lack of football IQ in that person. Because boy, I don't know what games he's watched.
No, but Zane, he does have a slight point. We weren't defensively the best today. Come on, let's call.
No. Let me go on to that. Just on that, right? Because I do want to get you. There's been a lot of negative Liverpool fans, right, this season especially, right? And I just want to call you guys out on this shit, right? Because I know you're going to flip-flop in about 5-6 games when suddenly we're looking good for the top 4. Suddenly like, yeah. And I kept it real from the start, right? And I said, you lot have been overly critical because we're in a transition season. Yeah, we've had injuries as well to key players, but ultimately we're in a transition period because our owners don't buy any players. So next season, our attack is going to look hella dangerous, man. Gakpo's now starting. You can start seeing what Gakpo's doing. Yeah. Nunez is starting doing things. And let's keep it real. All the rivals were cussing off this man at the start. Oh, what a waste of money. Now you're starting to see them get into the system, understand how the Premier League works, understand what Klopp wants out of them. So you can actually see that. So I'm going to say it now, boy. I want you to come onto the train because it's shameful that, regardless how bad we're doing, as a supporter, back your team, bro. Regardless through the wins, the losses, defeats. Don't be like them Arsenal mans. Do you know what I mean? Because them man are bare flip-flops.
You're saying that, but how many times have we done that this season and we fall back into the trap? We then lose a few games. You need consistency. Cool.
Okay.
Now, if we do go on a run of 4 or 5 games, I can't say I 100% think we'll get top 4 because that's another thing that people are forgetting about Newcastle. After next weekend, they've only got the Prem to concentrate. That is top 4 to concentrate on. That is their sole focus. And if they win that competition, how it's going to galvanize the players?
Okay,
it's going to be even harder. I'm not saying Newcastle will get top 4.
Answer this question.
We need to get consistent wins before.
Answer this question. The past 5 years, would you not agree that the second part of the season, generally Liverpool get their shit together?
Agreed.
Do you know what I mean? So based on that, we've got the same kind of players with experience. Most of them, they've been here a good 3-4 years. Based on that and looking at the past 5 years, how can you not expect them to ultimately turn their shit around and actually start consistently? We've done it when we shouldn't have got top 4. We've qualified third when we're well out the top 4 question. So I think you guys have got to remember that the same quality, the same personnel, most of them are still there. And basically, if you're an experienced winner and you're used to grinding out games and we're getting our players back again, because what normally happens is we get a lot of injuries at the start of the season, and then by the second half of the season, they start coming back. And that's why I'm confident on the Champions League, bro. If we knock out Real Madrid, I'm pretty confident. Apart from PSG, because Mbappe, he can win the game by himself. That
Napoli
brother's at next
do
level.
deserve a shout. I'd
What's
say
that?
Napoli, I say, would deserve a shout as well. I know you beat
Yeah.
them at Anfield, but they can blitz anyone, and they've been doing that, in Europe and in Serie A. So
Yeah, I hear that, but the problem is, right? Apart from
Napoli,
Madrid,
actually, to back up your point, Napoli start the season hot past few years, and then they drop off second half.
yeah, but let's forget this, right?
Yeah,
The most experienced, right? I'd always take in the Champions League final. I'd always back the team with the more experience in getting to those finals or winning them.
absolutely.
Hence, Real Madrid. Do you know what I mean? No matter if they're playing crap, whatever, somehow they turn it around. If I'm playing a team like Tottenham in the final, I'm celebrating, bruv. I'm celebrating because them players, they ain't used to that kind of pressure or that level of, that's the ultimate prize, right? Them players, you gotta grind and earn that, bruv. You got to earn the ability to be calm under pressure, and that's through winning stuff, right? So apart from say maybe Bayern, and you'd say Real Madrid, what other team?
I do understand that, but I think on Liverpool fans doubting Liverpool, I think you've got to respect people having different opinions in the moment.
Of course,
because Cedric points this out. Since the summer, there's been a 45-point swing between Man United and Liverpool.
Wow.
So, and that just shows, and again, it's a barometer, not the only barometer. And a lot of Liverpool fans will go, "Yo, like we nearly won a quad last year, and it wasn't you didn't just get beat by Brighton twice, beat by Wolves. You were comprehensively smashed apart. And I think these last two games have been good for Liverpool, especially the Everton game. What you've got to guard against now, though, and this is what it's going to be really interesting about Palace, is it can shock Palace into going, right, we're not going to be overly expansive against them. Low block, hard to break down, we'll counter. Just maybe Everton and Newcastle today got a little bit too big for their boots, a little bit too open, and you caught them. It's about cementing what you've done now because you're back in the top 4 race. Being 6 points behind with a game in hand, you're in the race. What you now can't do is throw it away, because if you go and lose to Palace, win your next, beat whoever you play after that, Leicester, I think it is, and then get beat at home by Man United, these two games essentially mean nothing in the context of the season. So it's about cementing it and moving on. Josh here says, with all due respect, you should be more scared of Bayern or Napoli.
Bayern,
Napoli, seriously, they are sensational.
Napoli have already spanked Liverpool once this year. To be fair,
it's not to say that it would happen again, but
I mean, being honest, when we played them in the reverse game, there wasn't much riding. They were guaranteed top spot. So these certain things,
they definitely matter. They definitely matter.
One thing I wouldn't say to you, Terry, though, is on the Newcastle, I slightly disagree. My opinion is that if it's at home at St. James's Park, the Newcastle fans were not allowed Newcastle to sit back. They want to test themselves against the best teams, right? So they had to go out and attack because I'm sorry, if you're at home against Liverpool, the fans will be cussing afterwards.
But then you've got to put
different opinion. Do you know what I mean? That's my opinion why they did what they did.
I get it. But that's where Eddie Howe's got to be like, listen, we ain't ready for that yet. At the end of the day, Newcastle were like an up and coming young boxer.
Yeah.
Tyson Fury might have had a couple of poor performances on the bounce, but if you go in there as a rookie boxer against him, even if he's in bad form, you don't go in there and just open up and leave your chin open, because he'll still knock you out if he catches you. And that's what Liverpool did today. They were just a little bit naive, this Newcastle. And when I say young Newcastle team, I don't mean average age. I mean a team that isn't used to being in this position in the league, a team that hasn't been in a cup final for the best
99.
25 years, basically, we're talking about. They need to learn how to handle that. Now, Newcastle fans will take exception to that. Go, who the hell are you to say this? I'm just talking about someone who supported a club that's been in these circumstances. Yeah. When I was a kid and I started to support Man United, we were awful. So when we first got into it, it was learning how to navigate it. It's a different kettle of fish. Dunagan here says, no, Terry, you can never get a prediction wrong. Nabil will have them receipts. If you know. Also, well played. Liverpool top 4 is coming. Yeah, the prediction thing is crazy. The sort of the one I like the most. I watched a video today. It's going to be on the fan channel review tomorrow of Babs, and he was talking about Rashford and he's comparing Rashford's form this year to Jard Bowen's, saying that he's basically Jard Bowen, and he's not very good. And if better players join Man United, Rashford will score less goals and they'll score more. And I'm like, I remember them saying that about Bruno. Like, oh, Bruno's only scoring because he's taking everybody else's goals away. Not ignoring the fact that United are 30% up on overall goals this year. But anyway, we move on. Go on, mate.
Football fans can be so fickle that, as a Liverpool fan, I can't stand United, but people need to remember what Rashford was doing before his dip in form. It's not like he's all of a sudden become this amazing player. Like, he has been good before.
You know when Ian Atcher has these little sparks where Ian Atcher has been good for a few weeks. I kind of get but he has these little purple patches. Like Rashford from a left-hand sided winger in the 1920 and the 2021 seasons, he's in the top 3 or 4 in Europe in terms of goal contributions. And at that point, he was still just the sort of between 21 and 23 years of age. He had a terrible season last year, which was a combination of multiple things. And then he's back. And I don't even look at it as fickleness. I see it as this. I know what Babs is doing. And if you keep listening long enough to the clip, he says it. He basically words it in a certain way to then go, because Saka's the opposite to that. And that's why I think Saka's better. And it's just creating a narrative to say, but and we could all do that. If you want to start, you do it by starting at the end result. I want to make sure that Nunez comes out as the best striker in the league. Do you find something Nunez is really good at? And you find
pressing or something.
So what you do, you'll find something the things that Nunez is. Liverpool fans did a better example is Liverpool fans did it with Firmino. They looked at the fact that Firmino's hold-up play and bringing others into play was the best in the league. They forgot that he weren't the best goal scorer, and they basically compared him to other strikers. They spoke about, well, did your striker do these 3 or 4 things like mine does? And that's what they kept they framed the narrative in a very narrow way, so that if you debate only that subject matter about the strikers, Firmino came out on top. And we
do
all
you think that's comparable to Jesus, by the way, at Arsenal? Sorry to butt in.
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. Gabriel Jesus, Gabriel Jesus is actually a great example there. Gabriel Jesus this year has been a brilliant player. Yeah. Is he the best number 9? No. Is he brilliant for Arsenal and their system? Absolutely. Yeah. You need more goals to be the best. Like, you have to have the goals in there as well. It's like with Firmino. I think he was one of the best number 9s around, but not the best, because there are other players that bring people into play, get assists, link up play, that also score goals as well. Karim Benzema, as an example. You're not better than him if he's doing similar things to you and outscoring you. But we all do it. All fans do it. We'll find a way of going, right, how do I frame it? And how do I minimize the talking points so that only the strengths of my player are highlighted and only the weaknesses of yours are highlighted?
Confirmation bias.
It's a lot of mental gymnastics, and it's fun to watch, because I think most grown-up football fans watch it and go, oh, bless. I remember doing that when I was 12. Do you know what I mean? I remember being there in the playground and saying that. Do you know what I mean? It is.
Do you know what, Terry? I will say though, Saka will have a bad season. Arsenal fans, he's going to have one at some point, right? It just happens to all players. So that's what makes me laugh, because when people you follow football for a while, they understand you're viewing it at that context in time, right? Because you can't go historically, because things change. Saka will have a bad season, whether it's next season or season after. Do you know what I mean? And you watch how
it all. Question: bad for his standards or bad in a general sense?
I think compared to the standard is set.
Okay.
So he sets bottom bar up here, right? It's natural. It's going to dip because form goes up and down.
Do you know why Zayn is most likely right? Because barring Messi and Ronaldo, every single player in the history of football that I can think of has had an off season or two. It just happened. And you know, one of the craziest things, you're Liverpool fans. Every Liverpool fan you speak to will always go on about Michael Owen the best, or Robbie Fowler.
Michael Owen, Jesus.
So but you say that about, I know you're a Newcastle fan, but let me say about Michael Owen. I'll give you a little fact about Michael Owen. Michael Owen never scored 20 league goals in a season. And when you say that, everyone goes, no way.
But
he never did
then, it wasn't a thing how it was recently. Back then, to get about 50 to 20 was seen as the point I'm making.
Yeah, the amount he was scoring. Robbie Fowler had like 3 amazing years. And then you look at it after that, I'm not saying he fell off completely, but he was scoring 30 to 40 goals a season in his first 3 or 4 years as a footballer. After that, it like halved and just dwindled away. Yeah. Maintaining the level of performance that Saka's at now for a decade is almost unprecedented. A handful of players in the Premier League have done that. Like, there's a handful of United players that have done it. There's a handful of Arsenal players that did it. There's some Chelsea players that did it. You could probably add them all up and you'll end up with about 70 to 80 players that have done that out of thousands that have played in the Premier League over the last 30 years. There's always likely to be a dip or two season. You know, most players, even Ryan Giggs was around nearly 20 years. He had an 18-month period in the early early 2000s when Man United fans were booing his performances. And that was all to do with him actually having bad hamstrings. And he ended up changing cars and doing yoga, and it kind of fixed him. But he was almost on his way out because he dipped and he came back again. To just be like brilliant from day one and never have a dip is almost unheard of in football. It really, really is almost unheard of in football. Wayne Rooney is a great example of someone that even he had a little dip after he put his transfer request in 20. Like he had a little dip, and then he came back for a few years, and then he completely dropped off in his late 20s. But the Rooneys are really hard. Same as Fabregas. They both dropped off in their late 20s, early 30s. But then man were playing first team football at 15. So they're still.
I've got a question.
Yeah.
Would you say Harry Kane? I know he had a poor 6 months, but he's maybe an example that hasn't really had a whole season this year. Maybe a 6-month period, but
Harry Kane is a great example of a player. But then you've got to look at it this way. So I'm just getting his sort of career up here.
Played at Norwich.
So forget all of his loans. If we talk about him in the Premier League, we look at the Premier League. His first full season was 2014-15. So we are now looking at 9 years on. First year, 31 goals, 28 goals, 35, 41, 24, 24, 33, 27. This season so far, he's on 19. So you could argue those 2 years when he hit 24 goals, that's not even a dip. That's still really good. Like his dip is still better than most strikers in Europe. Harry Kane is tracking towards being one of those attackers who've done it for a decade without having a poor season. But if you throw in a player, for instance, like if I just throw in Andy Cole, Man United legend. I love this guy to bits. And let's just throw him as an example. Won everything, right?
We're bringing up Newcastle, Man United.
Yeah, we're just bringing him out as an example here, right? So we'll start first year in the Prem at Newcastle, 41 goals all comps. The next season he got 15 at Newcastle, 12 at Man United, so he did it. The 95-96 season he only got 13 goals. The 96-97 he only got 7 goals, but he broke his leg that year. Neil Ruddock broke his leg in a reserve game. Then 98 season 25, 99 season 24, 2000s he got 22, and then it was 13 and 5. And then he went to Blackburn Rovers and upped it again. But that was more, there was a dip season in there still. He still had that season in 95-96 where it went, do you know what I mean? Like, and by his standards, only scoring 13 goals, when in the previous 2 to 3 years, he'd scored like 17 and 41, then 35, dropping down to 13. It was a poor season for him. So most strikers will have, or attackers will have 1 or 2 years where they're just not quite as good. But the problem is in the modern day world is we have this propensity to go, he's fallen off, finished, never going to get back. And I just think it's too hyperbolic and it's too reactionary, far too reactionary.
I think the only footballer I can think off the top of my head that was brilliant, truly from like start to finish, maybe is Juninho, Lyon. The free kick. Maybe Juninho, because he was ridiculous with Sport Club Recife and then went to Lyon, dominated with Lyon.
I can't. I'll take your word for it because I didn't watch that league, so I can't.
I'm a Liga fanatic. It's my
I get you on that. I'm going to do some of these super chats here. This here says Gakpo is playing better now. How have you guys felt Gakpo's been done in these last couple of games?
Improving.
His confidence is going to skyrocket now. I've always said once that first goes in, it's going to become second nature, because irrespective of the league you've been in, if you have the figures he's put up, he is a goal scorer. That is evident. You even saw it in the World Cup. I think he got 3 and 4, was it? So I do feel like it's hard because Nunez, I think we've brought him in to obviously be the number 9. But I do feel him and Gakpo are both well suited to that left-hand side role. But I do feel now his confidence will do him world of good, and he will start scoring because 2 and 2. I can see him scoring against Palace next weekend as well. He's finding his feet now. He's finding his feet.
No, and definitely, like I said, I said last week about he's technically really good. He's been trained well by Ajax, right? So
Gakpo.
Gakpo. The problem of the Gakpo is he's playing central for the past, and he's got to learn the role. Now he's starting to adapt and learn it. And it's one of those where you're going to start seeing, because he's an intelligent player as well. So over time, you're going to see him get better and better. And then, like I said, I love the finish today, the composure, the touch, and then the quality of the finish. You know what I mean? Yeah. Nunez still got a lot of work to do. Let's just keep it real. Yeah, Nunez has probably got 2 seasons before he's...
Both certainly have here.
Yeah.
Go on, Ron. Finish the point.
One thing I will say, though, Zane, I think you'll agree. Once Jordan Diaz is back, I think he's going to go over experience and what you know. I think Gakpo and Nunez, we could rotate, but where the objective will be top 4, I think Klopp will predominantly go with Salah, Diaz and Jota. I
Yeah.
think they'll come in for a few games bit part, but I think that's where.
Just on that, Jota and Salah don't really get on from what I'm watching, so I'll be surprised if Salah really helps him out. He will help Gakpo out.
Let me just jump in and get through these last few super chats. Sorry, this says Joshua failed to mention that we could have scored 8 goals today. Joshua could have scored 3. Don't worry about us, is what Eaton says here. If Arsenal don't win the league, Saka will leave.
He's a Newcastle fan at heart, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
his father.
I don't see him leaving just yet, but I get your point. Omar here says, how can we be looking at a Champions League run? Barely have hope for top 4, is what Omar says here. Omar not buying into it in the same way. I wanted to ask you though, Steve, as a Newcastle fan, are you worried about your top 4 position going? I mean, you could be out of it by tomorrow. Are you worried with the run of form that you're on?
Yeah, I mean, if for me, this season is about progress, right? We're starting from the dumps. We're relegation bound. If the takeover didn't happen and Bruce didn't get the axe and Eddie Howe didn't get appointed exactly when he did, and if that Norwich game didn't happen and Joel Linton in midfield and the brilliant January transfer, all this stuff, we would have been relegated. We would have been dust. It would have been curtains. So we're starting at the bottoms, and for me, the goal this year was top 8, and then probably got a little big for my britches, hoping for top 4. It looked really good. Maybe we'll drop off a bit. For me, this year's about progress, and you know what? I don't care. Today was a heartbreaker because of Atsu. I really wanted to, win for that. Sir Bobby Robson, obviously too. So I'm gutted. I really, really am. So certain things in the game cost us a lot, but that's what happens when you play a Liverpool. They can switch it on and score those goals. Clinical nature and the high line. It was exposed twice. So, but for me, I don't. You know what? Let's move on. That cup final. That cup final is the only damn thing I care about right here, right now. I'm nervous because you guys are a damn good side, and like I said on Thursday, Ten Hag for me is manager of the year. So we're coming up against a hell of a team.
I want no excuses from Man United fans. Liverpool have just helped you out, man. If you don't win that final, I don't hear no complaints.
Harriet has a chance to be a Newcastle cult hero, by the way.
And Steve, that was my point. Like, it's natural. I know there's that cliche saying you concentrate on your next game, but Eddie Howe 100% would have had his head in two-man next week. And did you hear what he even said to Joe Linton? When Joe Linton didn't want to come off, he's like, it's for you. He was basically saying to him, look, I'm saving you for the more important game inevitably, because whether you win or lose next weekend, then the objective will still be top 4, and then you would solely have that to focus on. So his head was in 2 minds.
Yeah, but for me, I like that from Joe Ellington because he's focused on the game, and that's the orders from the manager before the game starts. And then when things aren't going well, he can make a decision like, all right, I'm going to throw on Matt Ritchie and whatnot. So and one thing I do want to say, we battled, we tried, we did play our way, and we gave your defense some problems sometimes. Callum Wilson probably should have done better with the finish and a few other things. I thought Alain Saint-Maximin tonight for me was honestly one of his better games this year. I thought he gave a few really good moments.
I think he does against the big teams. That's
he really does.
Do you know what I mean? I feel like the big teams is like showcasing himself because of the world's watching.
I think it's more there's space. There's more space against the bigger teams when he's up against lower blocks. That there's less room for him to run into and everything else. But he was certainly great today. I want to say thank you to everyone who's tuned into the show, all of our super chatters, all of our members, all of our subscribers. A big thank you. Roms for Sam, Zane, Steve that have joined us on the stream tonight. Big up to you. Fan channel review out in the morning, and then it'll be reactions to the Man United Leicester game, and of course Spurs West Ham for Super Sunday. Until next time, everybody, take care of yourselves. Goodbye, God bless, and we'll see you all again very, very soon. Thank you.